1, 2, 3, 4. I gave you all I had to give, and I've done the best I can. So now it's up to you to finish what I began. Yes, I will always love you, and I'll be there just for you. So in all that you do, my child, to yourself you must be true. So promise me that you will fight for what it is that you believe. No matter what you do in life, it's in the giving that you'll receive. Wherever the road may take you, those you meet along the way, promise me that you will count your blessings every day.
And a very good day to you, Jason Hawes. Glad to be here back once again on American Faith Today. Happy to do another podcast for you. But as always, the most important thing, it is fantastic to have you here with me. I will say, though, that it has not been such a good or fantastic day as I look outside my upstairs window here that I'm sitting beside, and as I was out earlier, this morning, and we'll go out again at some point, maybe actually not too much longer or too much after I complete this podcast, and then actually have to do a little bit of work later this afternoon or evening as well. But not the best of weather days on this Sunday, June 9th, but it could be worse, and it has been worse here in this area. And I'm sure many of you, if not almost all of you, certainly in this country especially, and maybe that don't live too far away from the state of Ohio, were no doubt aware that last month, end of last month, it was actually on Memorial Day night. I think it all started about 9 or 10 o'clock when everything started to pick up. And we started to get, it had been raining, but we started to get some severe thunderstorms. And with that, of course, came tornadoes. And it was tornadoes, plural. And we were very fortunate here. I was very fortunate where I live. My mom and dad live in a village west of the city that I live in. And everything basically hit northwest of us up in Salina, Ohio, and then primarily due south of us, or directly south of me in particular. Again, it would be, I suppose, southeast for my mom and dad. But the county directly south of us, Montgomery County, Ohio, according to the news reporting anyway, 14 different tornadoes spotted, touching down, or at least spotted, the night of Monday. I think it was May 28th. It was Memorial Day that evening, causing tremendous damage and devastation to property. Thankfully, there wasn't very much in terms of loss of life. I'd heard of one individual who unfortunately lost his life in Salina. I don't know if anybody did in the Dayton or Montgomery County area at all. And like I said, we were very fortunate here in that no tornadoes, no damage from winds or anything else that hit where I live, where my mom and dad live. But I work down in Montgomery County, Ohio, and various places where I drive to during my work day. The devastation is severe, without a doubt, and very pronounced. And I've made a comment, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, that said there are places that literally look like a war zone when you look at houses with roofs completely gone. Houses and buildings pretty much leveled, almost leveled, if not leveled to the ground. There is a street or a road, if you will, that goes through the Dayton, Ohio area, Dixie Drive, that had, and I guess we can unfortunately say had, various car lots in one particular area. Maybe some buy here, pay here car lots, just some smaller independently owned car lots, cars damaged, thrown all around, buildings, with those car lots pretty much completely destroyed, a school that was hit, a gas station that was pretty much literally leveled right to the ground, and it is quite astonishing and quite sobering if you do, anybody who does happen to drive through that area, and certainly thoughts and prayers and well wishes and all those things go out and must go out to those that lost homes, lost businesses, other property, what have you. It was a catastrophic event on Memorial Day night in this area, without a doubt. And I had seen that there were 11 or 12 days in a row, at least when I happened to see the news article or the posting, 11 or 12 days in a row with at least one tornado, reported tornadic activity, as a meteorologist might say. And 500, I'd seen an article, 500 tornadoes reported in the United States in a 30-day period of time. Certainly, we've got some real upheaval going on in this country and really around the world. When you look at flooding in various places, again, we can speculate to what that is, whether it is, and I'm not talking climate change as it is sold, but whether it is trying to modify the weather for less than noble purposes, whether it is birth pangs or labor pains, when those of us who are Christian and who believe in that and actually do hopefully look forward to it when it comes to things being set right, when it comes to a new world age, a tribulation and then a new world age that will come. But, whatever the reason or reasons, like I said, a lot of weather upheaval, climate upheaval going on really, again, all around the world. When you look at the what they call the bomb cyclones that hit kind of the breadbasket of the United States, when you look at flooding in various parts, flooding in Iran, which, considering, again, not to go down that road on this particular podcast in particular, but considering everything that's going on with us in Iran, Israel and Iran, very, very perhaps convenient that they would be flooded at this time. But that being said, I got a subject that I wanted to get to and touch on today. And it's interesting, as I do these podcasts, I kind of, I suppose, want to make sure, at least myself or for myself, that I don't repeat myself too much. I do these somewhat sporadically, on a little bit more regular basis than what I had been doing them too at the same time. But and I don't think, or at least I hope, that every show doesn't sound like the previous one or the next one, and that's not going to be the case regardless. But when there are events or news stories or conversations that pique my interest and I think are important to talk about, to kind of dig into, and when I have the time to and take the time to do a podcast, well, there we go, with one that kind of transpires. And I am going to be getting back into the political realm. And again, for me, as I said, it's interesting, and because I am personally, at this point, have, in a very real sense, kind of removed myself almost, or have attempted to remove myself from politics. Now, in terms of commenting on things that take place, commenting on news stories that involve, our government or our leaders or what have you, that's a different thing. But as far as getting into any kind of political debates and discussions that I used to get into quite often, quite frequently, and with a very partisan almost mindset, those days seemingly are gone for me. And I can recall years back, and I was kind of starting to believe that, and at the same time, not. That, there would be people that I would come across who would say, there is no left and there is no right in this country. that's all just a game that they use to divide us. And that, of course, isn't necessarily true at all when you consider the people in this country, because you do have people in this country, people like you and people like me, who identify on one side or another, or one side or the other. You have people who identify as liberals or progressives, leftists, if you will, Democrats, or again, liberal, left-leaning progressives, and you have those who identify as conservatives. But it is true, I believe, certainly, that when it comes to the politicians in Washington, D.C., and even, state government, probably even down to the local level, but it is fair to say, in large part, that the idea of there being a left-right divide, with some individual exceptions, perhaps, individual members of Congress or what have you, is pretty much an illusion. That both of them do work for essentially the same people and do work to bring about essentially the same agenda. And so you've got the entertainment show and the noise and the distraction, which does consist of the mainstream media, but which also does consist certainly of this current president. And then you have the real show, and you have the real news, which does get reported by some, which is at least attempted to be brought forth by some, and at the same time, I believe also involves you and me and everyone who wants to use their own, put their own thinking caps on and use their own discernment to kind of figure out, okay, I understand the noise, I understand the entertainment, I understand the clown show. What's really going on? What do I really need to try to figure out? What is really happening behind the scenes right now? What is it that they want me focusing on with all of these antics and all of this nonsense, rather than what they're actually doing, or rather than what's actually coming down the pike? And, that's certainly where my mindset is these days. Not on that mainstream media, not on that mainstream president distracting everybody and instigating their own little play fights and getting into their own juvenile antics, but taking a look at news, because you still have news that's out there, that's reported, and figuring out, separating ourselves from all the noise, separating ourselves from all the confusion and delusion, and figuring out, using our spiritual discernment, using our good common sense discernment, okay, what is really going on, and how do we deal with it? And in what way and ways are we being lied to and distracted? And what I've tried to do, maybe successfully, maybe unsuccessfully, probably a combination of both. The thing about any of this is it always feels like, to me, that it's always one of two things. It's always preaching, and not literally preaching to that extent, but preaching to the choir, or speaking to people and sharing information, presenting information, arguments to people who listen and who maybe appreciate or have an interest in it and respect my view or another side's view, but at the end of the day, they're not budging. They're not changing their mind. They're not changing their position, certainly not overnight, and that's very natural, by the way. I certainly have been in enough debates, discussions, online, real life, what have you, to know that most of us have very set in place, concrete, carefully, in our mind anyway, carefully thought out, well-defined views. And it's not like, oh, well, you just said something I never even heard, so I'm going to do a 180 on everything I believe. That almost never happens, of course. But what I've tried to do, or what I'm trying to do whenever I do something like this, is to point out that the games that are played to divide us politically are just that. They're games. And they're done just for that, to divide. And those who get all caught up on what the mainstream media digs into